This is the Big Tasty Podcast where we talk about anything and everything.
Freeze. It was right down the street.
Oh, nice.
Get some ice cream and
Dude,
some
Tasty
burgers.
Freeze
Or
is
just
so
fries. Just fries. It's not
Yeah.
all that we could afford.
Tasty Freeze is dope. I like growing up. I like Tasty Freeze and Dairy Queen.
We try not to offend people, but keep it real at the same time.
Because I love roasting people. And dude looks like Shrek when he turned into a human.
I'm Brian.
I'm Chris, aka Luda.
Welcome, fam. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Big Tasty.
What's up, Brian?
What's up? How you doing, Chris?
Doing good. How are you, man?
I'm all right.
Good, yeah.
Been a warm day, but pretty good.
Yeah, that's been pretty good.
Yeah.
We missed last week.
Yeah, I know we missed last week. Some scheduling errors. We had to skip a week.
Yeah, but hey, we're back. We're gonna do it back. We're gonna do an episode back to back.
Yeah, we're gonna make up for it because our fans are important to us. So we can't ditch them 1 week.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to say that on this podcast we have Pastor Easy. Is it Ituburo, right?
It's Isai Ituburo.
Isai,
Yeah,
there you
it's
go.
a mouthful.
See, that's the correct way to say
Because
it.
I had asked him, I was like, well, how do you spell his name? And he like told me different ways, and then he was like trying to pronounce your name. I was like, because I'm pretty sure it's not spelled easy, like easy.
No, that's what he calls me, and it's funny how that. I'm 38 years old right now, and when I was in 7th grade, we had a substitute teacher. I remember specifically, it was in science class, and they were taking attendance, and they were trying to say Isai,
Yeah.
and she said Easy E, and then one of my
Like the rapper?
one of my closest buddy was next to me, and from there on, that was the birth of my nickname.
Easy.
What? That's
So
pretty
they
cool.
just took the E off and then just started
The
calling me
easy.
Yep. So it's not like my name, so it's just kind of like, but it makes it easier for a lot of people because they can't pronounce my name.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I know, no, true. I
that's
mean,
pretty
because I know like Zoltan, the worship leader here at Agape, he just does E and then Z, so he goes easy. I do like on my phone. I have you as EAZY, easy.
like the rapper.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, but yeah, I'm glad you're able to be on the podcast. I know it's a little last minute.
It's all good, man.
Yeah,
My
but we're just gonna go into the podcast. But before we continue, like we're gonna ask some questions later. But right now, just tell the audience and tell people who are listening, our listeners, mainly, who are you and what do you do? We'll start there.
Man, what? I do a lot.
I know. We don't go into detail, but just the little bullet points, and then we'll go into a little bit later.
The titles.
Yeah.
My name's like you said, my name's Isai. I'm the lead pastor of Agape Life Church, also the founder, and I'm married with 3 beautiful kids, beautiful wife, and what else? I own my own business as well, a handyman service, and my wife also is a business owner, so she has her stuff, and she has like 2 jobs as well. So we stay pretty busy.
Yeah.
Kids, parenting, fatherhood is really busy. So.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
So you're was a pastor, an entrepreneur, a husband, a father, a brother.
That's right.
Hey, contribute to community in multiple ways.
For real. What's the
Yeah.
name of your company?
It's King Maintenance.
King Maintenance.
Yeah. So we do a lot of apartments, home. You'd be surprised what we do. We can go somewhere to do a job. Something as small as just changing a light bulb. People will pay me for that.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And what I like to also say is that we'll do what your husband is not doing. We'll do the honey-do list. for you.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, again, I'm glad you're able to be here. I've been wanting to have you on here for a while.
Oh, my pleasure, bro.
So,
I'm excited and happy for you guys.
yeah.
Thank you.
thanks.
Every
Thanks.
time something is starting from the it's exciting to me because it's cool to see that where things can go.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
And that's I think the most exciting part for us too is like starting from nothing and building something, whether it turns into something big or it stays the way it is.
yeah,
As long as we're enjoying ourselves and having fun,
that's it, man.
that's all it is. We're just the experience.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
yeah. I think that's the whole thing with this podcast is just we're having fun with it. Just see where it goes. We don't know what's gonna happen, but people are listening. People want to be on. So
That's
Yeah,
cool, man.
We got
That's cool.
fans, so
yeah.
That's funny. That's
Shout
cool.
out to the fans. So I honestly, for this podcast too, I think we're just gonna go with on the fly with this.
Let's go, man.
Nothing planned, but I think that's what makes this pretty cool. It's just, you know, we have some things we want to talk about, and you just go with it. So
Okay.
we want to have you just be part of it, and then later on, like I said, we'll ask you some questions.
Sounds cool. Man.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
So, you want to start off with the artist spotlight?
artist spotlight.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Artist Spotlight.
So we like to bring up artists that maybe people don't know about.
Mhm.
Like either they're already famous or people that are just going to bars and singing and trying to make something for themselves.
Yeah.
So you have an artist? you
Yeah,
said?
so I have one this week. I have a guy named Giancarlo. His style is more like John Legend, kind of cool like R&B vibes. I met him at downtown Fullerton at the Night Out, and I believe Zings before that. But the guy's a hard worker. He's amazing voice, and right now he has a little EP out on Spotify. You type in Giancarlo and just type in Lone, Lone. You find him on there. He has a couple songs, and it's really good. I'll play a little clip.
Do you
on
want
the
to play a little bit
podcast.
something right now so we could hear, so we could comment
You
on
wanna
it?
comment on it?
Yeah.
We could do a little something. But yeah, dude, he has a great heart. I actually been communicating with him, and he said that he's down to be on the podcast. He's like, I feel so honored.
That's cool, man.
But yeah, so this one I really like is called "Love Your Son," and he wrote it because his dad passed away.
Oh.
So it's a really good song.
Flew across the ocean to give us better lives. I lie in my bed
Sounds
wondering
pretty good. But yeah, like, it's like a John Legend.
what
He does
did
sound like him.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
survive?
You say you met him at Zings?
Yeah, I met him at
Life's
Zings.
so precious,
He would go there,
fleeting.
and
Each
like
day you
he
never
would go there with
know.
his dad, his like brothers, sisters,
Hold
and all
each
that.
other
So it's really cool.
tightly,
But he's a cool guy,
never let go.
and he's great at
You're up that
his musicianship and all that. Plays piano, guitar, like his
I wish
EP.
I knew how to play piano.
His EP, dude. I'm the same way. I wish I knew piano. Like I tell Zoltan that all the time. I'm like, man, I want to like. I mean, you could do it. It just takes time.
Do you have any type of musical background or
I
anything?
don't.
No?
I can dance. I think.
Do you used to break
Yo,
dance?
yo,
back
I
in
like
the
the
day?
way I dance.
No. Well, I tried a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all tried.
Yeah.
We all tried.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, Brian knows how to do the worm.
I could do the worm still. Yeah.
I
I
used
hurt
to-
myself every time.
I used to be able to do windmills.
Windmills?
Yeah.
Oh dang! I wish I could do that.
I tried a few years ago. I think that was the last time. No, actually, I tried it when we were working on this.
Working on the building? You
Yeah.
do that?
All excited making the
Yeah.
the
That
building
was
of
my
it.
little victory dance.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our spotlight for this week. Check him out. I'll put all the stuff up on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff that you could check him out on. And like I said, we'll have him on pretty soon. Trying to get. I know we have someone else for next week, right?
Yeah, we have. I think he's our number one fan. Coming in. No, yeah, no. We'll have someone else for next week.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to get Neiman on here.
Yeah.
So he did this artist. I had him as our artist spotlight last week, so trying to get him on this week.
That's cool.
For the podcast
Yeah.
this coming week.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Neiman's cool. Cool
Yeah.
people.
So,
So, I don't know what hit me the other day. I was trying to think about. I was thinking about like my older brother and stuff and how he's had an influence on my life and stuff and just him being around, right? So I wanted to bring up like heroes or someone you look up to and stuff and as to why.
okay.
So I want to ask you guys, is there someone that you look up to that you try to like either be like or you strive to be more like?
Man, it depends what you're talking about because I look up to a lot. I think we have to look up to people.
Yeah.
We have to have someone that I've always said this, that we have to follow someone's path until we find our own.
Yeah.
And so man, I have a lot of heroes, a lot of pastors that I look up to and I admire. I call them they're my mentors from a distance.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like recently I've been really like reading books and listening podcasts from like older pastors because I feel like they got so much wisdom, and I want to avoid making mistakes as much as I can. I mean, they're unavoidable. You're going to make mistakes regardless. But to answer your question, one of them is Pastor Chris Hudges. He pastors in Alabama, a church over there, and one from pastor from LA. His name's Erwin McManus. Someone that I always Erwin McManus. He's actually had there's like some significance in me following him, I guess you can say, because early in my faith, I had a fallout. Like I was about to just call it quits, and I went to a conference and he happened to be the guest speaker. And from that day, it was a lot happening in my life in that moment, but I feel like God used him in such a big way that his name was just like I don't know. He was just someone that I always admire, just the way he communicated, the way that he shared God's word. And that's why I believe in preaching so much, because it changed my life. That's how I got a revelation or a connection with God through listening to a message. And I feel like that's one of my goals, that if I can point someone to Jesus and paint someone the picture of Jesus, then that's, in a way that it's undeniable to them, then, mission accomplished. But yeah, that's why Erwin McManus, and I've read all his books. Every time he comes out with a book, I buy it and I read it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a really good answer, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
What about
I think it's hard to choose one person or
It is.
choose someone to that you look up to as a mentor or different stuff like that.
Because you do a lot of things. It could be someone for music.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
for. It could be a lot of
yeah,
different
it could be
things.
someone I think for you could be business wise,
Right.
It could be husband, father wise, just a bunch of stuff serving the church and leading the church and all that. So for me, it's I could choose music, I could choose, I'm getting married, so someone who I want to be as a husband and as a father, want to have kids. So it's hard, but off the top of my head right now, just not prepared at all. And I think my girl could speak for this too. I'm really looking up to The Rock right now.
The Rock?
The Rock. Hey,
That's
it's
cool, man.
inspirational, man.
Like Peter the Rock or The Rock?
No, The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, The
Sorry,
Rock.
Bible jokes. Bible jokes.
Bible jokes. Yeah, I don't know, I've always liked his movies. I've always liked him as a wrestler. And then just seeing what he's been doing, he's just a genuine, from what I see, he's a genuine nice guy, genuine someone who cares, someone who's just
He's very positive. Well,
yeah,
from
positive.
what you see, he's very positive
Yeah.
on social media.
He
and
has
all
He
that.
has a cool
hard
story
worker.
too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
And he always looks out for those people that helps him. His stunt double. He gave him a car and some other things. He's always looking out for him. So I like that. And then I just think he's a genuine cool guy and hard worker. For everything he's been doing, and he still gets up and works out and all that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So because I just watched Hobbs and Shaw, and when I went in after that, I was like,
I'm going to the gym.
I could be like that. And so yeah, so
Go to the gym.
I
You
got up
can,
early.
bro.
I
You
got up
actually
early and
can.
went to the gym.
Yeah.
And I did it the whole week last week. Today I slept in my alarms.
Oh man, I
But,
started this new little gym thing called. Have you heard of the Orange Theory?
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
What is
actually been there.
that?
You been there?
I've been there once.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool place.
I'm on my 3rd week right now, so that's cool.
Dang,
Go to the 5 a.m. class, bro.
that's what's up. Hey, you get there.
It's early.
Because yeah,
Yeah, it is
I,
early.
I last week I would get up. I would wake up at 4:30, and I would go
Yeah.
to the 24. I
Yeah.
get there around 5:15 if
It's cool.
I took my time or
Yeah.
slept in 5 more minutes. But yeah, it's getting it out of the way, just doing it. It's been really helpful.
It's good, man.
Yeah, but
important.
I've been that's one person I've been looking up to.
So the
Yeah.
Rock, huh?
Yeah,
That's
The
cool.
Rock.
Yeah.
You?
I like The Rock too. Actually, I think he's my man crush Monday. For real, I get made up fun all the time. They're like, man,
Me
you like him
first.
way too much. I'm
That's
like,
funny.
all right, but the whole reason I brought it up, I don't know what happened this week, but I was thinking about my brother a lot this week, my older brother, and my older he's not my oldest brother, but he's the one that's been around for the longest. So we had a lot of issues with our parents growing up and stuff, and the one constant was I always had my older brother there, right? And regardless because obviously he's done his dirt. He's done wrong things. He's not perfect. None of us are, right?
Right. None of us are.
But one thing is constant. He's always been there when you need him to be. He goes to work every day, comes home to his family, raised. He has a father. He's a father of 3, 2 boys and a little girl, and he's a good husband, you know, and he's always had tough love for me. So when we grew growing up, like I didn't have my dad around. We just had stepdads all the time, and he used to take me camping. He was only like 17. He used to take me camping. He'd take me fishing. He taught me how to ride dirt bikes. He taught me all that stuff that dad's supposed to take you to go do before he was even of age to be doing that role.
Wow.
You know, and I catch myself doing a lot of stuff that he did. So like with my nephews, I was like 17 and I was staying home from school to help take care of my nephew.
Wow.
You know, and he became a dad at 17. I became a dad at 17. Like I followed him direct. No, no, but he's just always been a constant. And I know sometimes he feels like I distant myself from the family or like I'm not there always. But I don't know if he listens to our podcast or not. But if he does, I want him to know that I still love him.
That's right.
You know, and that I'm still always thinking of him. Like this week, he's been on my mind a lot.
That's cool, man.
You know, it's just, he's just one of the people that inspire me just to be better, just to do more.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good,
That's
man.
it. Well, shout out to our mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you should give him a call, man. Tell him
Yeah.
exactly what you just said right here.
Yeah. I will.
Yeah.
I will too.
It's
Yeah.
important, man. Sometimes, because I'm an older brother too. I have two younger brothers.
Yeah.
And I think that, were you there in the life groups when we were talking about Big Brother mode?
The Saturday
No,
mornings?
I don't think you were there. And I was telling him that Big Brothers, me as an older brother, I wasn't concerned if my little brothers liked me. I wasn't trying to be their best friend.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want them to like me. I wanted them to know eventually in the future that I love them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you get from him. That, you know, even though he was tough on you, could start to realize it was all love.
Yeah.
You saw the responsibility and the task that he took on. Man, 17.
Yep.
That's young to grow up and do things that the grown people are doing. So
And like just like a back history on him, he was like in high school he was into drugs and like he dropped out of high school and stuff. But he got his wife, who's his wife now, he got his girlfriend pregnant at 16. They had a kid at 17, and from the day he had his son was born, he turned his whole life around from that day on.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's hard for some people to stop doing drugs, and it was hard for him. But
Yeah.
like from one day to the next,
yeah,
to turn it all
especially
around.
if he didn't have a father figure to.
Yeah.
He knew. He's like, man, he just knew what he had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
and that's
his
what's
name?
inspiring to me. His name's Billy.
Billy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Billy, man.
Yeah,
Good job.
Billy.
Yeah, so yeah, and it's pretty cool because he's been with his wife ever since they were 15,
Yeah.
right? And they're 30-something years old. They've been together longer than they haven't.
Dang, they still been together?
Yeah, and that's
Dang.
a lot
That's
of high school loves don't really last that long,
Right.
some-
Yeah.
a lot of the times. So that's pretty impressive in itself.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
So your
shout out to
brother-
Billy.
Billy's your hero,
Yeah.
the one you look up to. That's cool,
Yeah.
man.
That's what's up. Well, I think that was a good one.
yeah. So
Like-
transition from like teen parent stuff that I was talking about, right? So I was watching TV the other day and I was flipping through the channels, right? And I came across Teen Mom, and Teen Mom. Every time I come across it, I get kind of angry, right? Because I don't agree with.
Bro,
the
they're
premise.
all angry.
Yeah, they're all angry, right? But I get kind of like with the premise of the show, I'm upset with it, right?
Yeah.
Because like I was a teen father, right? And we grew up and that was like the thing. And I know being on the show helps them like financially, right? They get that check from the network, or whatever. But it throws all their drama out there, like
Right.
with their baby daddies and right, and the issues the kids have, and fighting for the kid, and the kids growing up in that environment. So they've been on it, like Teen Mom OG's been on it since they were 17, and I remember because I had my kid at the same year that show came out. So I paid attention to it a little bit more. So they're the same age as me. So from 17 to 31, right? Those kids grew up,
Yeah.
and that's all they know is a bunch of cameras around and like everybody knowing their business. They got to go to school with that
Yeah.
and hear the other kids talk about it and stuff. I just want to know how you guys feel about that whole being raised up in that environment,
I
And-
mean,
because it's hard enough already without the cameras.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I probably haven't watched a whole lot of that episode or series, but I can only imagine, it being hard because being life without cameras and just life in general as
It's tough.
growing up, like you don't know who you are, you don't know what to be, you're trying to be someone you're not, and so to have cameras around and to like have your family's business out there and all that, like people talk about your parents and about your life, and it's tough, but And then it just makes you someone who you're not. You know, you have to be a certain way because of what people are telling you, and to like if you're gonna be made fun of, like you try to defend yourself and try to act all hard or try to and I think it's the same way growing up. Like people find out things about you and they start making fun of you, or like, oh, you live over there, oh man, like this and that, or you're wearing that pants, like, and to you it's like, oh man, like I like these pants, but so I think it's tough, and it sucks that they have to do that, but I mean, what TV's TV, but people want to see, they make TV out of it, so it sucks, but it's hard.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's tough because, I mean, going to school, we all trying to put up a front. They're trying to like
trying to be the
pretend,
cool person.
Yeah, trying to get in the crowd,
trying to fit in,
and they can't pretend. They just everything's out in the open for them. And I mean, we all try to hide, even as grown adults, we all trying to hide our flaws and our mistakes, and to walk in a place where you feel like everybody knows your business, pretty uncomfortable. So I can see how that can be challenging for them and uncomfortable. But it's important to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
Hopefully they got good friends around them so they can encourage them.
That's true.
Because if not, identity crisis for sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, you trying to find yourself to begin with, and then with everyone judging who you are and how you are, just your parents and everything.
Everybody's giving you an identity.
Yeah, and you're gonna give a different answer to almost everybody, probably depending on the personality that you're talking to.
Yeah.
So it's just, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just always hit home to me because I was a teen parent, and I was like, I wouldn't put my kid through that.
I thought you were gonna say I was kind of mad because I wanted them to do a team day.
For real. For real. Well, like I'd watch it with my girlfriend at the time, right? So I'd watch it with them, and I'd be like, our life's way tougher than theirs. Give us that check.
That's funny.
We could give you a good show.
Making money off of people's lives.
That's funny for real.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
Anything else? Let me see. No, I think we just let's talk about Easy a little bit more.
Yeah. So I know, obviously, you said earlier everything you do and all that.
Mm-hmm.
My first question would be, what made you want to become a pastor?
Well, that's a good question because I didn't want to be a pastor.
First, shout out to Agape Life Church. Woo, woo.
Yeah. What's up with that, bro?
Fullerton, come down.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to be a pastor. I had no desire to be a pastor whatsoever. I just felt, it started with like knowing there was a need. First of all, I love my city. I love Fullerton, and one of the things that I've always wanted is, one thing is undeniable, is that I felt like God wanted me to do something about just do something in Fullerton.
Yeah.
And I got exposed to different churches, people, just a desire to when I saw people, just other pastors just reaching out people, and I was like, man, that can happen in Fullerton. I have so many friends that don't know God, and at that moment, me being fresh in my relationship with God, man, I just wanted everybody to come to church. And I was just in a place that I'll do whatever it takes to get my friends to come to church.
Yeah.
And so I had no desire to come to be a pastor, but just little by little, it just happened. If you've heard me say in my messages that even to this day, before I go up stage, I get nervous. I mean, I was nervous. I know how to hide it better now, but I'm even nervous right now with you guys. But because I always felt, I always grew up insecure. I wasn't born in this country, so I always felt like I was an outcast. I always felt like I was out of place. I always felt like I didn't have a group where I can belong to. So I can relate with a lot of people when it comes to like feeling like they don't belong in a place. Because for the first time when I stepped into a church, it was the first time in my life when I was 25 years old that I felt why I belong here. For the first time, I felt like I belong. Dang. And I want to share that with everybody, because all of us at one point have felt like I'm an outcast. I don't belong. What group do I fit in?
Yeah.
And so it started with that. It started with the vision of like, man, I want to do something different. I want to create a place where our friends will want to come. My friends will want to come to church. And I remember that we just wanted to just do something, anything that will make God attractive to them, or kind of like just noticeable. I wanted Jesus to be noticeable to my friends, and
Yeah.
I would just do anything. I mean, we will rent bars and have churches there.
Yeah.
Because we just wanted to make some noise for God to, like, hey, you know what? In spite of everything, like, God loves you.
Yeah.
And so again, going back to the question, I didn't have any desire to be a pastor, but it just kind of happened that way, as I just kept trying to do everything possible to get my friends to come to church. And then when I least expected, it was like, I just had a desire, like, man, God wants me to start a church. And you probably heard me say this, Chris. I even try to pray against that. I will wake up and say, God, please take that desire.
Yeah.
You got the wrong guy.
Yeah, you got
trust
the
me.
wrong guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're
It's too much
perfect.
pressure. Yeah.
You're perfect. I know you don't make mistakes, but you might have missed it on this one. You know? And but no, man, it's true when you just completely take the step of faith and let go and let God. It's true what the scripture says, that God will do exceedingly and abundantly than all you can think or even imagine. In other words, God will exceed your expectation, and God has definitely exceeded my expectations. And was it easy? No.
Yeah.
Was it scary? Yeah. Do I feel lost at times still? Yeah, I feel lost at times. But thank God for his guidance and direction, because it makes me that much more dependent on him. I have to rely on God, because if I felt like if I was good enough or strong enough or smart enough, I'd probably just end up just trying to do this on my own. I feel like it's funny because when I was going to Bible school, they did this like spiritual gift assessment, and we hadn't started the church yet. It was in the process. We were doing the planning, and
Yeah.
and I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is where I'm gonna find out that I'm not called to be a pastor. Like, this is where I'm gonna find out for sure that God, I made mistakes.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
you're
I
like,
w-
I'm not gonna relate to this stuff.
Yeah, like I once they realize my gifting, they're gonna be like, "What are you doing? You shouldn't be starting a church." Right? Like this is where, and I was honest to God, I was prepared for that to like say, "Okay, guys."
Is that what you're kind of waiting for? You
A sign.
like, because you were praying. You're praying.
Well, by
for
that I had already accepted. By this time, I had already
You
accepted
accepted
it.
it?
So I was like, "Okay, God, you're not taking it away, so let's just go with it."
Okay.
And so I was in Bible school because of that reason, because I felt like I needed to know more. I needed to educate myself more if I wanted to be a pastor. I mean,
You want to do it right.
yeah, exactly. And so anyways, I was going to school, and we did this spiritual gift assessment, and we took it, and so it was on Tuesday. So I had a whole week for the next class, because I had another class on Thursday, but to when they're going to talk about the spiritual gifts was the following week.
Oh, okay.
So I had a whole week to meditate on this, and I'm like, man, I think, because I was always battling with that, like,
Mhm.
I'm not good enough. I'm not I don't think I'm smart enough. I don't think I'm called to do this. And so anyway, so that's it. That whole week went by, and I'm praying. This is where we're gonna like give you the results and tell you, like, what can you use your gift for. And I remember my way to class that Tuesday. I was just driving by myself, and I was praying to God, like, man, God, like, okay, so it's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. If you don't want me to, like, I totally understand. Like, you're the boss.
Yeah.
So whatever. I was just like preparing myself to how am I going to break that news to the people that we're starting the church with, right? And but then right before I got to the to class, God said, "Remember, you say you wanted to do something different, and for your friends and for your city, you want to reach God in a different way." He's like, "Well, your gifts might not match to what a pastor is, but in order for me to do something different, I got to call someone different." So I was like, after that, I didn't even care what my gift was. I got confirmation and reassurance from God that, in spite of what that is, you might be different than everybody. Because I did feel different than every other pastor. This is 6 years ago, around there, maybe, when I was going to school, maybe longer. And so yeah, I just felt like I just didn't fit in again.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was an outcast. But in order to relate with people that felt like they were outcasts, I gotta call one
Yeah.
that was an outcast.
Yeah, just like that saying, like, real recognize real.
That's right.
Fake recognize fake. they'll know exactly where
Or
you're
like
coming
Tupac
from.
said it, game recognized game.
Yeah, game recognized game. You know what I mean? So exactly what you're saying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So to hit certain people, you got to get somebody that they could relate to.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool.
that was a long answer to that one question.
No, but it's cool.
My bad.
I know.
It's just us pastors or preachers, I guess we
Yeah,
just
you start taking the stage,
just start talking.
No, but I think that's cool because, like, you know, obviously our podcast reaches listeners that don't go to church and, you know, maybe don't believe in God.
Yeah.
And which is fine, you know, like, we want, like, I think my whole purpose of doing this, or our purpose of having you on here, was just to get your insight on to, like, what people might be thinking, but they're not really talking about or not really going through it, or if they could just relate to what you're going through. And so to hear someone as a pastor, to be able to see where they're coming from, to see how they feel, you know, and
Yeah.
to see what they went through, like, I think it's very, very helpful for them to hear without having to step into a church, you know.
Yeah,
So,
true.
but yeah, like, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
you know,
So you said like like the first time you walked into a church was like at 25, right? So before that, growing up, did you guys have to go to church? Were you
No,
religious?
I didn't grow up in
Nothing?
church. I used to consider myself Catholic, but I think I went to a Catholic service maybe 5 times in my life, and that's when I felt like things were going bad, and I just
start doing your own thing.
I wanted to just show God that, like, hey, do something about this, but I had no idea anything about church. Or it's funny now, but it wasn't funny back then. You know, people used to put signs up, John 3:16. This is how little I knew. If, like, I didn't know anything about the Bible, so when people put John 3:16, I would say, who's John? And what happened to him at 3:16? I'm like, this is so stupid. They didn't even put PM or AM. So dumb. So it was
You're
just
all the
3:16.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Stone Cold.
I was thinking Stone Cold, yeah.
316.
Yeah, I was like, what's up with that? So that's how, you know, that's how far my education went when it comes to
To the Bible.
To the Bible. I didn't know anything.
That reminds me of something my mom said one time. We were driving past a cemetery,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was already like 18 or something like that. She's like, "Why do people always put RIP on tombstones?" I was like, "You serious?" She's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "It's rest in peace." And she was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense."
No,
I was like, "Okay, Mom."
But it's true. Like, a lot of people
That's
don't know
funny.
some of the stuff. You know, like
And you think
things.
everybody knows.
Yeah, you
but
think everybody knows. Yeah,
that's
Oh.
crazy.
All right, and then how'd you get into doing your own business?
Well, I was doing plumbing for a few years, and then the company we were working for, kind of just it was my brother and I at the time, just they couldn't afford to employ anybody else anymore, so we bought all our tools, we had a van, and so we just went and tried to do our own thing, and then from one thing led to another. There was a place that was they needed like handyman, and we're like, we don't want to do that. We want to be plumbers. But then we noticed that, well, we could do plumbing while we do
While
that. Yeah. So from that, it just happened like that quick, and then just from there, just, you know, it led on to where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Learning things, and, you know, now we have you know, employees and things like that. So, which is cool.
How what's like the difficulty like of having your own business? Do you do everything yourself? Do you
Not right now, not anymore. But yeah,
in the beginning?
at the beginning you had to do everything. There's
Yeah.
no room for error.
But
But
be
you're
hands on
gonna
with everything. Yeah.
yeah, and then, but you are gonna make some, because, you know, you have to do the billing, the scheduling, the work,
Yeah.
customer service, all that, and you know, you go buy the materials, everything. So now, so yeah, it was. But the hardest thing was for me, because I wasn't really organized. It's just pushing me to be organized. Because if not, you're
It's
not
not
gonna
gonna
make
happen.
it. It's
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
gotta
happen.
make everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Taking you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, man. I heard a quote that your comfort zone doesn't make your life safe; it makes it small.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to get out of your comfort zone, you discover how big your life can really be.
That's how I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
I-
with food.
And I think that's with everything, anything.
Yeah.
Right. If you stay in your comfort zone, nothing's gonna ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out of it. Everybody has to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, what would you say was harder, starting a church or starting a business? Because I know it's like two way different things, but you're starting from scratch.
They have some similarities to it. I think because I'll have my business, it kind of like helped me prepare for the church a little better.
Okay.
Yeah, so so it kind of like complemented, you know, each other, one another, and but the hardest, man, I don't know, to be honest.
Like for me, when you're starting a business or a church or anything, like you said, you have to do everything hands-on. You got to do everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start growing, you start getting more responsibilities and more customers or more people following your church, or I feel like you gotta get your hands off. You gotta let go a little bit and trust other people to do certain things for you. I think that would be a hard part for me.
Letting go of things.
Yeah, letting go, like, because you're already controlling everything. You're like, well, if I let this person in charge of the finances, I gotta trust him that he's gonna buy everything that he needs to buy, and then we're gonna have everything that we need, and but it's hard because you're like, I know how to do it. I've been doing it right.
Yeah.
In
that sense, I think the business is harder, but a church is when it comes to that, no, I don't think so, because to me, at least for me, because you have a bunch of, you just see people's heart.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris is one of them. He's always down to do anything and to be a servant in any way, and that's people like Chris make the church a lot easier, because you can count on them and lighten the load, because just there's a lot of good people with good hearts, and it makes it easier. Now when it comes to business, they're probably just there for a paycheck.
Yeah, like like one people want to show up to, and the other one people have to show up to. Right?
That's true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
so in that sense, I think the probably business will be harder when it comes to letting go and leading it. Yeah.
What about customer service? Is customer service a little easier now that you have more people skills with the church and everything?
I mean, you still get nervous.
I still get nervous, and I think, well, I don't answer the calls anymore, so I don't talk to the customers as much. I do jobs still, especially right now. We're short-handed, so I'm gotta get out there and work. Yeah, which is cool. I like it. It's like therapeutic for me, just to kind of zone out and just things like that. But no. I don't think with people, I don't think it's hard with the.
No.
Now when you love people and you know that they're here because they really are hungry for God, and they wanna see something different happen in their lives, and you just wanna speak life to them and just encourage them. So it's not hard.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, for the church, like, let's focus on the church. Like, where do you want the church to go? Like, say in the next 5 years, where do you see the church?
Man, that's a good question. Well, I don't know how long this is gonna take, but eventually we want to grow into a place where we can have our own place, and we want to have more programs so we can help our community, help our youth that are around this city, have bigger programs. I mean, we still started. I feel like we're still fresh. We were 4 years old.
Yeah.
We're a toddler church. so we're still growing. But in 5 years, probably, of course, get our own place and just grow our impact in Fullerton.
Yeah.
And of course, I want to see people that are here in this church just flourish in their gift and grow as followers of Christ, and as husbands, and you, future husband.
Yeah, I know.
And so that's where I see the church just growing and
Just
having an impact in the community. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I know, I know when I first came, because, like, I grew up in church. My parents, like, I was basically born in church. So I've known Easy. I think when I was 15, around there.
Yeah.
So, but I know for a while I took a break from coming to church or going to church. So I was just doing my thing, finding myself, and it was tough. But when at a certain point, I was like, you know what, like I miss going to church. Like I was missing something in my life that I knew that I had to go back. And so I was, I know a lot of people from different churches, and so people were like, hey, come over, check this church out. Come check this church out. And I was like, all right, I'll go church hop. I'll go check out some churches and see which one's best for me. And we ran into each other periodically when I was not going to church. And so when I was looking, time for a good look, I was like, I'm gonna go to church. I was like, I'm gonna go to Easy's church. So I stopped by and check it out, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, I like everyone here. Felt comfortable, and I was like, all right, next week I'm gonna go to another church. So next week comes and then I'm like getting ready, and I'm like, I feel like going to Agape again. And so I just went. I was like, you know what? I just gonna go. Like I wasn't even like debating. I was just like, I'm gonna go to Agape. And so I come to Quebec. And don't get me wrong, like I came, and service was cool. I sat down, and then service ended, and like for me, like I wanted, let's get some food, let's go hang out, let's go do something. But I didn't really know anybody like a whole lot, and so I'm like just chilling. I'm looking around. I'm like, what's up? Talk to small talk. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm out of here. So, I would leave it. So at first
It's
it was
kind of like what I do now when I go to church.
well, yeah, because like you come in, you don't really know people, you don't know anything, so you just like peace out. I'm out of here. So it takes some time for sure for people to get used to the church and all that. And I even that I forgot his name. He's been coming for a while, and I barely met him like maybe a month ago.
Who's
and so tall.
Jim?
Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He just said tall. He's like Jim.
Yeah. Well, because when he's standing, he's like the tallest person
Yeah.
here. But I barely met him like a month ago. But people don't really, unless they start talking to someone and open up, then you start to be part of things and to get involved and all that. So
Yeah, like with me, because I've been to the church a couple times. Like I'll say like about 5 times.
I'd say about 5 times, yeah.
Right, and with me, it's like I get anxiety in big groups of people, right? Or going in situations where I don't know who's gonna be there or what's gonna happen. Even just like I've been to a party at Chris's house, and me and Chris have known each other for years, but like I'll be like, before I get in there, I'm like, all right, let me take a second to myself because I don't know who's in there. I don't know what's going on. That's just always been me. So like when I go to church, like I sit in the back, and I try not to talk to nobody because I don't want to do. I just want to listen, right? But like when you come to church, everyone's like, "Hey, nice to meet you. How you doing? You okay?" You know what I mean? And it's like it breaks me out of my shell a little bit.
Yeah.
And it helps. And at the same time, it's like, "Oh my God, he's gonna talk to me. I see him walking over." Like, you know what I mean?
What's funny though is like with you, like if you talk to anybody, especially at work, like this guy talks to anybody. Like he'll. Like,
it's weird. Like for the situation, so like I'll go back to when like I worked at McDonald's for a long time, right? When I was a teenager, and so like. I get nervous going into a situation, but like when I was behind the register, like I knew my job was to greet the customer, take their order, be polite, get their food, right? So like that didn't make me nervous because I knew what I had to do. Like there was a script to it almost, and like at work now, like I know I have to talk to all these people. I'm in charge of them. I gotta let them know what they're gonna do. I gotta give them what they need.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a script that I have to follow there. When I'm going into a situation that you could sort of gotta like freehand, that's when I get nervous. I'm like, oh man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes who you are, and because I think once you get comfortable, like
I don't shut up.
Yeah, you don't shut up. You joke around,
Yeah.
and everyone likes you. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think with church is just finding that right place, and if you like it, you like it. If
Yeah.
not, hopefully you find another church.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just something about Agape. I just I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah. So like I've always said, like Agape is not for everyone, but it's for someone.
Yeah.
And there's a different culture, different. I feel like every church has their own little unique identity, and we just have our own. That's the thing.
And it makes it very relatable to people too. Also, I think coming off the street that don't go to church a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, like I went to a church that's close to my house. Like I think it was like 2 weekends in a row,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't really feeling it. I felt like those people were from like a different lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
than I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't relate to them.
Yeah.
But when I came and I listened to you talk,
Mm-hmm.
it was more relatable.
Mm.
Because you said some stuff about. I remember you said something about your past.
Mm-hmm.
About I don't know about getting in trouble like when you're kids with your friends and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I remember
and
that.
I was just like, oh, I got in trouble with my friends like that too.
Yeah.
You know, like we did the same thing, and then it was just more relatable to me
Mhm.
because the other place that I went, they weren't talking about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was all positive, positive, positive,
Mhm.
positive. And then you threw some relatable jokes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not like they weren't necessarily like PC jokes. Like they were, but they weren't.
Mhm.
You could the undertone to it,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it was more relatable. Made me feel more comfortable.
Mhm.
And I went to service at that church twice in a row, and then I came to Agape the third day, the third weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and like I haven't been back to that church. When I do go to church, I come to Agape.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Because I don't go all the time, but
Yeah.
like I tell Chris, like every once in a while, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna see you at church.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to church. I
That's
feel like
cool.
going to church.
Yeah, I think that's the goal for us is coming from I know what it's like stepping into a place and not feeling like you can relate, you can fit in,
Yeah.
and so I know what that feels like. So one of the things that I always try, I don't want to be, nothing wrong with being churchy in church,
Yeah.
but I just don't want to be that because I've heard this somewhere that every Sunday could be someone's first Sunday, and we want to make it relatable, but also tell them the truth with love and know that this is a place where they can have an encounter with God, a life-changing encounter with God, and it doesn't have to be all complicated. The gospel, which is the good news of Jesus, is really simple. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
If you go to church and if you leave complicated, I doubt they preach the gospel. So it's just really simple. It's just, God loves you, died for you, and he wants what's best for you and your family. So, that's just the beginning of it. It goes deep into it where, God will lead us to even deal with certain things that we try to hide in life, and it just goes really, really deep. And one thing about God is that He will always push you to out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing, but it's a good thing.
I got a tough question
Okay.
because I know I've battled with this in my life before, and I know probably some other people have out there. What like for you as a pastor and someone who believes in God and all that, what do you tell the person who's like, if God loves me, then why is all these bad things happening to me?
Well, it's not. If you think about it, everything that happens is every pain that we go through is usually self-inflicted. So I would say, like, first of all, what is all these things that are happening? Like what the world, what terrorist attacks, or people being raped and things like that is it goes back to God giving people a free will. Like they have the power to choose to do these things. I believe that God doesn't do anything intentionally to harm us, but see, he's not gonna violate. God doesn't go back on his word. If he says he gives us a free will, God is a man of his word, that you have free will. He's not gonna take that from you. Like, why didn't he stop the bullet from hitting someone? It's because that guy chose to do that. Now God can turn it around for something good. All that we go through is anything, even the bad choices that we make, God can, when we trust God, he can turn it around for good. So a lot of the pain that we go through is self-inflicted. It's bad decisions, bad not bad judgment. It's just but sometimes there is those things that are just like tough, like someone just gets diagnosed with cancer, just out of nowhere. Like my aunt had a stroke and never recovered from it.
Yeah.
And then she died a few years later, and that was things like that you just don't understand. And
Yeah.
and but the only thing is that we're gonna know the answer soon enough, like why these things happen. But for now, I just trust God and know that He won't. At the end of the day, I know I know God's character, and I know He wants what's good for us, and He wants what's best for us. And things are gonna just happen. Like we don't know the backstory sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes we judge it from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Like say, you come in and you saw me right when you walk into these doors, cutting Chris's arm. Right, I'm cutting his arm. You would say like, "Wow, that's pretty heartless. Like,
Yeah.
why would you do something like that? Like, what is wrong with you? You're sick in the head, right?" you will probably say those things about me. But if before you came in, you knew the backstory, knowing that his arm was infected, that if I don't cut his arm off, he is gonna die. Now you will say, "Oh, wow, what a
Let
hero."
me hold him down.
What a hero. Like, wow, like, see how that perspective changes
Yeah.
on me now because you know the backstory.
Yeah.
I think the problem is we don't know the backstory. That's why we easily judge God as like judgmental, heartless. It's like, why would He do something like that? But we don't know everything.
Yeah.
Scripture tells us that His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts go beyond our thoughts.
Yeah.
So we don't never understand. So it goes a lot into it. Is one of the things is that if you have a question like that, like, really do yourself a favor and don't take people's advice or opinion on what that is, because you can hear your drunk uncle say, "Oh, we live in hell right now," and it's like, no, we don't. You know what I mean? And someone can actually take that thought and just ran with it, like,
Yeah.
this is hell. This is hell, yeah. And it's like, no, don't do that. Like, you do your own research and have your own spiritual moments with God, and have Him really show you the answers to these things. And you'll see, the more you know God, the more you realize that God is a good God.
That's right.
And I don't know if that answered your question.
No, that's good.
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
good answer.
Good.
Oh, so like one thing I wanted to know was like, so a lot of people don't go to church, right? Because they feel like when they're in church, they feel like a hypocrite
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to church and they're not living the right life, or
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Or a lot of times they don't go to church because they feel like there's hypocrites in the church,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they hear drama or whatever,
Yeah.
stuff that happens.
Yeah.
People aren't perfect or whatever. But
Yeah.
what would you say to the person that's in that type of mentality? Like, I'm not going to that church because there's a lot of hypocrites in that church.
That's funny.
Type of thing.
Well, I heard someone say this, and it's so true, that we're all hypocrites in transition.
That's a good answer.
I think I used this one time, and I think it's unfair how the people judge the church that way, because they say, "I'm not going to church because there's a bunch of hypocrites there."
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever seen an overweight person go to the gym? Like, it's the same thing. It's like, I'm not going to the gym
It's a
because
struggle, yeah.
I'm not going to the gym because everybody's out of shape there. It's like, it's like, no, we're there to get in shape at the gym. No one's going to judge you, right?
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, it's not that we're hypocrites. Scripture tells us that God came for the ones that know that are sick, not the ones that think that are well, right? See, we come to church because we know we're jacked up,
Yeah.
right? We know we need God to help us. We need a healer. We need someone that we're messed up from our past. The way we were raised, that messes you up spiritually really bad. And we come to church because, man, we need help. We acknowledge that we need help. Not we're at church because we're perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's the wrong perception that people have.
Yeah.
Or like I'll go to church when I stop my bad habits. It's like saying I'll go to the gym when I get a six pack.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
I'll
sense.
go to AA once I quit drinking. Yeah.
Right?
Like, it doesn't
It's
make
like-
sense, yeah.
So no, there is imperfect people in the church. There will be, and I think that's a mistake that people make sometimes, is they put Christians in a pedestal, like they shouldn't act this way. And you're
Yeah.
right. We do have have to live up to
A higher standard.
a higher standard.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I would always tell a Christian this, that it's the most, you're gonna sin, you're gonna fall, you're gonna slip. So the most important is how you handle when you fall.
how you react to that.
how you react to it. How do you show people how you bounce back when you sin, not or when you make a mistake. So that's more important than when you're doing everything right, because people can relate with you more when you make mistakes than when you're doing everything perfect.
Yeah, dang,
Yeah.
you got some good answers, man.
I know, because
usually we keep it like we say a lot of dumb jokes, or like make a lot of funny voices and stuff with our thing. I think this is a more
Serious?
it's a little bit more serious than usual,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit more informative too,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we want. We
Yeah.
want not every episode to be the same. We want them all to switch
That's
up
cool.
and be different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
if we hit
Hopefully I'm
different
not the
people.
Debbie Downer then.
No,
No,
no.
no.
I'm just kidding.
No, because I the way I feel, I think that people actually want to know these things,
Yeah.
but they don't know who to ask.
Mm.
They don't go to church, and they never really had to think of something like that, And I think for to have you on here to be able to like, hey, I'm not part of this country,
Yeah.
and it was tough for me.
As
growing
a matter
up.
of fact, sorry to cut
No,
you
go
off.
ahead.
I just like 3 weeks ago or about a month ago, I just
Yeah, you just
I
became
just became a U.S. citizen.
What?
That's what's up.
Congratulations.
Thanks, dude.
Right.
Thanks.
Let's do it. You became a U.S. citizen.
Hey.
But
Time to vote. No, I'm
no,
just
that's and I think that's great because
Yeah.
you never gave up,
Mm-hmm.
and you still, like, even though you weren't part of this country,
Mm-hmm.
you still kept on persevering, and like you said, you just became a U.S. citizen. So
Mhm.
all the stuff that you've been doing, you've been doing it between you and God,
Mhm.
and I think that's pretty crazy. But like I said, a lot of people don't know.
Mhm.
They just like, you know what, my life sucks, and my life's never gonna get better, and this and that. Like, that's the mentality you're having, and you're
Yeah.
putting that upon yourself. Like, if you just like, you know what, I have something better for myself.
Yeah.
There is something better out there, and
There is. I think people just need to give God a chance. Seriously.
They need to step out of their own way, right?
Yeah, and don't put yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself when you go to church. It's just like, don't worry about what people are saying. Don't try to live up to other people's. That not just in church. That's just in life general.
Yeah.
Don't try to live up to other people's expectation, because you can't meet everybody's expectation.
Yeah.
You're bound to make someone unhappy. I think you have to be real with yourself and just say, like, you know what, I'm doing this for me. Like, you have to get to a point where you're just sick and tired of being in your maybe low place or just
current state,
confused. Yeah, because I believe this. Yeah, it's true. Just we have a void that only God can fill in our hearts. Like, and the problem is that sometimes, and I did this for up to 25 years old. I was trying to fill that void with other things. I was trying to, like, there was something missing in my life, and I tried drinking, partying, girls, and just friends, and I tried everything. But at the end of the day, when I would go home, no matter how good of a time I had that night or the night before that, or how good my weekend was, some nights Monday will come, or even the same night, I would just feel empty again, and it was like something was missing.
Yeah.
So I feel like people might say, maybe someone out there is saying, well, I tried church, it didn't work for me. It's not that it didn't work, that maybe you gave up too soon. I would say that maybe you just gave up too soon. Maybe you didn't really give it a chance.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's not just about coming to church. It's about connecting with people, building relationships with other people. Because if you just stay on your own and you don't try to connect with people in church, you will always think that you're the only one going through your problems. You will be the only one thinking that, oh, I can't relate with them because they don't know what I'm going through. But the more you talk to people, the more you realize, like, oh, snap. They're jacked up just like I am, and we need God to guide us and to direct us in this, to give us direction in life, because we can't do it without Him.
Yeah, I know. Like, people always, like, I'll talk about different things that happen in the church, and they're like, "Man, you're having drama in the church?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Well, I'm like,
It's a family, right? Family's got issues.
but
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Well, yeah, that's my thing. Like, just because you go to church and just because we're Christians doesn't mean that, like, everyone's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We're all messed up still, and we're all going through different things, and people have bad days, bad weeks, and you never know what they're going through. And, and so it's
I
gonna
think what
happen.
makes it special about church is that we're all gonna mess up, but how cool is it that you can come to your friends and say, like, hey, man, I messed up.
Yeah.
And someone can put their arm around you and say, like, it's all good, man. you can bounce back. You know, like someone battling addiction, like, hey man, I slipped again.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna
And not make fun of you. You
no,
know?
not make fun of you. Say, you know what? We know the struggle, and we're here for you, and you know, just it's good.
Yeah.
People said that the scripture tells us that mourn with those who mourn and rejoice with those who rejoice. So that saying is just like, when it's time to celebrate with people. When it's time to like go through difficult times, you know, do it together as well.
Yeah.
So I think I think that's what makes a community in church so special, that you're not held to an expectation to like you have to be perfect, and but you know, you held to a place where you have to be an expectation that you have to be open about it. Be like, man, I messed up. It was like so good, man. We
Yeah.
can bounce back from this. You
That's
know?
what's it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, do you want to like end the podcast on the five questions?
Yeah, but I'm not
Well,
sure.
just think of like five like lighthearted questions, like easy, fun
Okay.
questions.
All right, cool.
You know?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the one that I did last time.
Yeah.
Your favorite Rocky movie? Out of all the Rocky
4.
movies. Rocky 4?
Yes. Rocky
See,
4.
I'm a Rocky 3 fan.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That's a
too.
pretty good one, right?
Yeah.
You said Rocky 1 or Rocky 2?
I think I said Rocky 2.
I think you said Rocky 2,
yeah.
yeah.
But
That
then
was cool.
but then I feel like I'm getting the both like Rocky movies all messed up.
He's like, I gotta rewatch
So I
it.
gotta watch them
Oh,
again.
I love Rocky movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 probably my favorite for
4 is
sure.
favorite.
Yeah.
So you're wearing Nikes, right?
Yeah.
So if you had to pick a type of shoe or type of clothing, brand or whatever that your go-to, like that's your favorite one, that's what the one you want to buy, what would it be?
Probably Nike.
Nike?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I would have said Jordan a few years ago, but now just Nike.
I'm trying to get into Under Armour. I pretty like Under Armour now.
You like Under Armour?
Yeah, but I like Nike too.
See, like I go through my stages, right? So for a while I was like into Converse a lot, and then I got into Jordans, right? And then like right now I'm into like whatever catches my eye. So
Yeah.
if I go to the store and I see some Doc Martens that I like, or some DCs or Vans, I'm buying them. Like,
Yeah. That's cool, man.
You know what I mean?
I know that.
Just get what you like. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I have a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Totally
Also,
have
there's a question that we asked on our last podcast, right? And we had people vote on Instagram. Do you like your fries dipped in ketchup, right? Or do you like it like the ketchup drizzled on top? I liked it, and I think one other person liked it with drizzle on top. Everybody else did dipping. What do you like?
Dipping.
Dipping?
Yeah.
I think the drizzle works for me because I eat the fries first, and I eat them fast because I
Okay.
love fries,
Uh-huh.
so they don't get soggy or nothing. Like,
That's cool. I think
I-
I just be worried to get my fingers messy. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
definitely. Okay, I got one. Because we also asked it on Instagram. Your toilet paper roll. Do you do over and under?
I've said to as long as there's toilet paper, I don't care.
he's like,
You're the
as long as I can clean. Huh?
As long as there's toilet paper, it doesn't matter to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about burgers or pizza?
Burgers.
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 All right.
What do you like for
Burgers.
sure?
I'm a burger guy for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm a burger guy too.
Yeah.
I'll take burger over pizza.
Somebody has
anytime.
picked pizza over burgers here.
Well,
No,
we haven't
not
really put
yet.
it up.
You haven't asked that. We'll put that on the
We'll
podcast.
put it up now.
All right, cool.
Well, all right, Izzy. Well, thank you, man. I
Man, thank
appreciate
you
you being
guys.
on here.
This is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, but hopefully, like down the line, season 2,
Yeah.
we could have you on again and just
For
like
sure, man.
talk or whatever. I'm excited to have you, conduct on my wedding.
Oh man, I'm
So,
looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
we're pretty excited.
Special day
So,
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it'll be cool.
So you want to shout out your business or the church before we get
Church,
off?
anything.
I'll just do the church.
Yeah,
I'm pretty busy.
We good.
No, just if you want looking for a church around Fullerton, come join us. Agape Life Church, Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Look us up on Instagram at agape_LC. And we love you guys, and hope we can. Hopefully, I can meet some of you guys at church.
Yeah.
Much love.
And then do your little.
Oh yeah, I wasn't ready.
Cool. Well,
Cool.
thanks for coming on.
No
Appreciate
problem, man.
it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Cool.
Big Tasty out.
Out.
Peace.